Alrighty, welcome back. This is episode 4 of New Earth Creative Leaders. I'm your host, Serena. On this podcast, we talk about different ways of being a New Earth leader. We talk about bringing your soul aligned business into fruition. We talk about doing that in a way that honors who you are as a soul and honors what you want to bring forward into the world. Maybe you can sense already I'm a little bit low on energy today, and that's actually part of what we're going to be talking about. So I'm excited to dive into the topic today. But we just had my daughter's second birthday party yesterday and grandpa's birthday yesterday. They happen to be on the same day. So it's very synchronistic on also 11/11. So big portal, big energy, lots of going on, lots of celebrating, lots of everything. And so now today feels like a very rest day. And there was part of me that was like, well, do I even film today? Should I try and maybe make it happen another day? And this is exactly what we're talking about today. So I'm so excited to share this topic with you. So today we are talking about how I run a successful soul-aligned business while not making it my first priority. Okay. And I think we've been duped in this area. We've been programmed and we've been convinced that in order to have money, in order to have freedom of your time, in order to run a successful business, that has to be your main priority. And I think a lot of us, especially as women, have really struggled, and a lot of us have turned down the idea of having a family because we believed that that meant not running a successful business. It meant that we can't have all the things that we want. And yes, while our journeys in our soul aligned businesses are going to look a little bit different than the average person. And if you're running a new earth business or a soul aligned business, it looks different than your typical 9 to 5 3D matrix job anyways. So we shouldn't even be arguing this at this point. But there's been some aha moments I've had with myself around this topic. And I'm sure that there are many other people out there that are trying to figure out this space. And a lot of it just comes down to limiting beliefs. So what we're going to talk about in this episode today is how I run a successful business while not making it my first priority, and how you can do the same. And then we're also going to talk about the difference between, discipline and showing up and taking time off and resting and having other priorities. So there's a lot of misconceptions, I think, in this space, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to cover as much as I would like to cover in this episode. So definitely watch until the end, because I think there's going to be some gold in here for those of you that want to be business owners and entrepreneurs, but also want to be fully invested in your family, because that is a line that a lot of people struggle in. And that is a line that society and the patriarchy has made us think that we can't have both, and has made us think that in order to be successful, we have to give our life, love, and soul over to our business. And I'm here to say that that's absolutely not true. And while it has taken me, quite a few years of getting out of that mindset, because I was in that mindset at one point, it has taken me quite a few years of getting out of that mindset in order to actually take my power back, because that is this journey, right? This journey of bringing your new earth creations, your vision, your healing business to the world. It's about taking your power back when it comes to career, purpose, business, money, abundance, all of these different narratives that we have in our head around what's possible for us and what we can actually create in the world with any sense of freedom. So I want to share a couple instances that have been coming up for me recently, and how this relates to the fact that I run a successful business. And the first thing that we need to look at when we say successful business is everyone's version of success is going to be different. So your version of success is going to be different than my version of success. My version of success is that my business keeps growing each year. It keeps evolving me. My version of success is that it pays all my bills and then some. I like to have some left over. I like to have some excess. I like to have my savings. I like to have my investments. I like to have my personal fun money. So my business needs to cover all of that. And my business needs to give me the freedom and must be the vehicle to live the kind of life that I want to live. Now, I'm still working on this part. I'm still working on this because up until this point, the beliefs so before I get ahead of myself, you need to identify in your business what success is to you. So that would be the first piece of advice I would give you is a lot of us are chasing some version of success and we haven't actually even pinned down what success is to us. Some of you are also already at your level of success and you're just not seeing it. So this is why it's so important. And I've done this myself where I've thought like, oh, I need to keep growing. I need to keep evolving. I need to make more. I need to do more. And right, this is the rat race. This is the ego trap is I need to do more. I need to be more. I need to have more. And not even realizing, oh my gosh, I already have obtained my version of success or the majority of it, right? So this is why it's very important for you to sit down. You need to actually plan out, what does success look like to me? What does it allow me to do in my life? How much money am I making? You know, all of the details of how you would feel successfully fulfilled in your business and plot all of that out because you might not realize that you're already attaining some of those things in your business right now, or you might not even realize that there are certain things that you want that you need to start making a move for or making a plan for. And so finding your version of success is that first standpoint. Now, I run a successful business while not making it my first priority. And that is something that I never thought was even possible. I thought if you have success in something, it has to be your main priority. And this is just absolutely not true. Now, does it take precedence in my life over other things like traveling right now or going out and having fun or doing this or doing that? Yes, because there is a certain level of discipline in my business. So I do make sacrifices, I do make choices. But my business is not my priority. I am first and foremost a mother. And again, this is something that modern society tells us if you want to make an income, if you want to have financial stability, then you need to put your kids in daycare as soon as they hit the 3-month mark or as soon as your maternity leave is over. This is how, and it's going to make me emotional, this is how the 3D matrix keeps you enslaved. Because they take your children away from you. They say focus on making the money so you can provide for your children. It's a false sense of security. It's a false sense of you're doing a good job. And now this, I want to be very clear. This is not to undermine or demean anybody that has made this choice in their life. You needed to make the choices that you needed to make, okay? So there is no guilt here. There is no shame. There is no judgment. But it's just it's a reminder that this is what the system wants for you. The system wants you to struggle to earn your money so that you give the system more of your time, right? You are spending the most amount of time at your job and you're earning the least amount of money possible and you're spending the most amount of time away from your children so that the system, daycares, school systems, those systems can then imprint whatever they want into your child's mind, and now they've got more workers in the system. It's completely selfish and self-fulfilling, and it's meant to be that way, right? There's a reason why maternity leave in America is like 6 weeks to 3 months, right? There's a reason why in a capitalist system, these things are laid out this way. Now, breaking free of that mindset is very challenging. And I even come from a family. My mom did not work until like my older sister was 8 years old. So she didn't work from the birth of my older sister till she was 8. And that's in the time that my 3 siblings were born. So me, my sister, and my brother. That was through the time that we were born, toddlers, little kids, and then going into school. And she still didn't work until that point. And so for me, I've had to navigate this feeling of guilt around going back to work when Claire was about 6 months old and hiring a nanny to come a few days a week because of the way my mother brought us up. And my mother did not want us around anybody else. She didn't want anybody else to hold us. And there was repercussions of that within us. We were super shy kids. We were mistrustful of other people because she was mistrustful of other people. We didn't get out a lot. We didn't do a lot of things because, again, in that financial system, right? If my dad is the only one working, we're a one income household. And so what that means is we didn't take as many vacations as everybody else. We didn't have maybe the same cool stuff everybody else did because we were working on one income. Now, they actually did that pretty well. We were still a middle-class family. We still had a swimming pool, a trampoline, go-karts. Like, we still had an amazing childhood and we were provided for. So there's beauty in that. But there was also the stress of my mom being home and being unfulfilled. My mom so they've come out with these studies, right, that talk about basically when moms or parents in general spend too much time with their kids, there's like a very high cortisol level in both the parents and the children because we were meant to be living as tribes and small communities. And so we're meant to be handing the baby off to Uncle Joe and handing the baby off to Mama and handing the baby off to your big niece. And all of these things, we were meant to do this together as a community. And now we're in these single family households where we don't have that kind of support. And so parents are either they're expected to choose being at home with their kids all day long with zero support and not paying for daycare, or they're expected to go back to work at 6 weeks to 3 months, and they're expected to just carry on like nothing ever happened. And I see a really, really big problem with that. And without getting into my own like personal ideals, this is where my belief systems around my business have had to shift. And I'm going to be completely blunt and honest with you. When we had Claire, I was not at all prepared for exiting the system the way that I did, because before I had Claire, I was still kind of in the 3D matrix system. I was doing YouTube, so I was working on YouTube, but that was like my part-time thing. And I was still also doing hair part-time. So I was still in my 3D matrix job, and I was just doing the YouTube thing as like a side thing, as like a passion project, something I loved doing, something that brought me creativity and excitement and joy. But I wasn't fully exited the matrix. And so when I had her, that was like the hard cutoff for me of exiting the 9-to-5 3D matrix job kind of market. And so I wasn't ready. I didn't I didn't address the underlying belief systems as much as I should have. And I'll give you an example of what actually happened. So I had created a course, and it was called Relationship Repair. And this was actually a course. So there's multiple facets here, and you guys are going to get a lot of information for me around this. There's multiple facets here of why this course didn't work out. So one, I was working with twin flames at the time, but I was still feeling nervous about making a course for twin flames. So I called it Relationship Repair because I was too afraid to say, yes, I'm making a course for twin flames, or I didn't think that it was a big enough market. So I was like, no, it needs to be more general, it needs to be more broad. So that was my first problem, was how I designed the course and marketed the course. The second problem that I created for myself was I didn't address the belief systems. My whole plan was create this course, market it, and launch it, and have that bring me passive income while I was being a new mother. The course fell completely flat. So thank goodness I had savings. And I had been gifted so much during my pregnancy in terms of like nappies and clothing and all these things for Claire. I was so blessed in that way, because thank goodness, because this course pretty much flopped. I had maybe 10 plus sales, and that was about it. And I was expecting, especially with how many viewers I had on YouTube, I was expecting to have a lot more. And I realized only afterwards, because I went into such a dark place after having Claire, I realized afterwards that I didn't feel worthy of receiving that. I had put this thing out there, but I didn't believe it was going to work. I didn't feel worthy. I still had all these matrix belief systems of you have to work more hours, you have to work harder. If your full energy isn't in it, then it's not going to work out. All of these different things, right? All of these different belief systems that I had around why I couldn't make money selling an online course. And I only addressed those belief systems after the fact. And that's when my business actually started to pick up. That's when I started to do group coaching. That's when I started to have a community. That's when I started to do all these beautiful things that actually were successful. But it was because I was addressing the underlying belief systems. So if you have this belief system that says, in order to run a successful business, it needs to be my first priority, that's where you have some underlying belief systems to look at. And the things that you are wanting to ask yourself is why? Why does this need to be my first priority? Why can I not set up systems that work for me, right? My business, my ability to generate income, right? As a conscious creator, you create everything in your world. And that ability to create and generate income is meant to come from an unlimited place, especially if you are in New Earth, especially if you are a soul-aligned business. It is meant to come from an unlimited place, which means you need to address your limiting beliefs in order to move forward from that place, right? It's meant to come from overflow. It's meant to come from abundance. It's meant to unfold in a way that has a certain level of destiny to it. So when we're egoically pushing and pulling and planning, a lot of times those things do fall flat. And if you want to run a business where your first priority maybe is travel, or maybe your first priority, like me, is your kids, or maybe your first priority is getting your health back into a place where you feel good about yourself, or whatever. It can be so many different things. Maybe it's building a relationship. You need to make sure that your limiting beliefs match and align with what it is that you are trying to call into the world. So that means looking at all the limiting beliefs, right? If you had parents that were obsessed with working and didn't put time into you, and you're trying to build a relationship, but also this side business at the same time, this is very true for many twin flames. My channel has a lot to do with twin flames. So if you're seeing this is very strongly a twin flame thing. And, you're trying to figure out, well, does my business come first, or does my twin flame journey come first, or whatever, and you need to create the systems and address the limiting beliefs. And a lot of times those came in from childhood, saying like, my parents didn't show up for me in XYZ way. So I believe in order to have a successful business, I have to, still work when I'm sick, or I have to put more time and effort into my business than I do anything else in my life. Or maybe, like for me, my parents' marriage was not the greatest marriage. So I had this belief that if I get to a certain level of success in my business, my marriage is going to fall apart. Because, like when my parents' business was doing well, my mom sometimes worked for my dad, and, they would like work together, and she always kind of resented that, I feel like, a bit. And there's a lot of things underlying going on there, but the important thing to consider is that those beliefs shaped how I saw my business and what I saw as possible in my own business. And so I've had to sift through my beliefs of what I related relationship to business, or relationship to entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship to responsibility, entrepreneurship to success, business to money, business to abundance, family to entrepreneurship, all of these different webs of belief systems and limiting belief systems that I've had to kind of slowly unfurl over time. And now I have a system for myself where I work the minimal amount of hours a week that I can. My family, my daughter comes first. She just turned 2. So that's super exciting. But what I can say about this is, when you are able to find your values and where you want to, almost like creating a pie graph for yourself, right? Like if you imagine a pie graph and you imagine, I want to spend this percentage of time with my family. I want to spend this percentage of time by myself. I want to spend this percentage of time working. I want to spend this percentage of time traveling, or this percentage of time working on my house, or working on my new book, or my passion project, or whatever that is for you. Put that in a pie graph. And label for yourself so you can see visually all the things that you want to spend time doing, and how you expect your business to fit into those things. And I think that's a really, really helpful way to visually understand that your business needs to support and needs to have systems that support what you want to create in your life. Some of you are going to want to work 50 hours a week, and that's just what works for you. That is amazing. If you're in a soul-aligned business and you are serving the public at 50 hours a week, that is freaking amazing. You are a generator. You are a magician. Well done to you. That's maybe where I'll be at another point in my life. I was there one point in my life, but maybe that's where I'll be at another point. I'm not there now because that energy and time allocation goes to my family. And it brings me so much joy to say that I've been able to create a business that fully supports me, fully supports my family, my dreams, my desires, and gives me the ability to be there for my family when I want to be and need to be. So I'll give you an example. We had a beautiful, and I can't wait to watch it back. We had a beautiful call from my twin flame community last night. And it's falling on, as I told you guys in the beginning here. Sorry, I have like a hair or something in my eye that I'm trying to get out. It fell on my daughter's birthday. So there was a part of me that's like, okay, here's my options. I either cancel the call or I go on the call and miss the evening of my daughter's birthday, which is, like when we're spending time with our family, doing cake, like all of these fun things, right? And so like, again, that thought process of this or that came up and was like, well, I have to choose either my family or I have to choose my business. And then I waited and a third option popped up. We had a beautiful woman that's an astrologer who has so much wisdom, who has been doing healing work for a long time. And I had the insight from another member of the community that's like, hey, if you want to, like, she could host a session. And I was like, yeah, I actually would love to have different members of the community who have gifts, who are able to share things, host these sessions from time to time. And then I was like, wow, this is the perfect opportunity. And some big fears for me came up around this because it was like, well, what if they like her better than me? Or what if it goes wrong? Or what if I lose control of the community? Or what if this or what if that? Or all of these different things came up for me and all these different fears. And then I was like, Serena, what do you run? Do you run an old paradigm business or do you run a new earth business? And I run a new earth business, which means I need to be in alignment with the choices that I'm making. And when I look at this from a practical lens, I don't have to cancel the session. We get to learn from an amazingly insightful woman. And I get to spend time with my daughter on her birthday. That's like a win-win-win-win-win scenario. And it just took me shifting my mindset and again, creating these structures that worked for me. And it was beautiful. So it was like all of these beautiful things were able to unfold in just this one scenario. My twin flame beautiful community was able to meet on 11/11, the 11/11 portal, have this beautiful astrological portal being opened for them by this wonderful healer. And I was also able to jump into that call quickly, say hello, say hi to my community, connect, and then also go spend time with my family. And there's something just truly, truly beautiful about the flexibility of that. So if you've been wondering about wanting to step into this new earth business and open something like this for yourself, this is me sitting here saying, like, you can do it. If I can do it, you can absolutely do it. There's no reason why in 2025, 2026, your business shouldn't be working for you. Like, you should not be a slave to the system. You should not be a slave to your business. Your business is meant to be working for you. Now, I want to touch on something else, which is, I mentioned in the beginning that I was tired today. And hey, hi, I still am. But I'm showing up anyways. And so this is the thing about running a new earth business that I think also gets maybe put to the wayside a little bit, because we think that in order to run a new earth business or in order to run any kind of a business, we need discipline, right? And so we think that discipline means prioritizing. And while that is true, discipline does involve prioritizing. It doesn't mean that that thing needs to be your full priority. It means that you need to show up and you need to have the awareness of when to show up and when to rest. So there was a big part of me today that was like, maybe this is a sign. Maybe this is showing me that I need to rest. Maybe this is telling me that I shouldn't be recording today. All of these different things because I'm tired. My daughter was feeling a little bit run down also from her birthday. She had a little bit of like a low grade fever. So it all was seeming like, okay, well, I'm not taking her to school today, so I'm not going to get the working hours that I thought I was going to get. So maybe I just don't work at all. And again, you have this or that scenario. You have I take her to school and she's not feeling well and she has to go and I choose my business, or I stay home and I don't get to work and I choose her, right? And again, it's that same thought process of I choose my family or I choose my business. But again, we have this beautiful ability to have that third option where how can I choose both? I'm not going to send her to school. I'm going to ask support from her grandparents that can come watch her for an hour while I make my recordings. I will rest this morning and I will rest this afternoon to regain my energy. And this is where the discipline came in. The discipline came in because I didn't want to show up today. I wanted to rather just be like, I don't feel like it. I'm tired. I'm low energy. But the discipline said, hey, an hour of your time can make a massive difference in your business. And that is so true. You showing up for an hour. And again, you might have limiting beliefs around this, saying like, oh, if I'm tired, like I'm not going to be as high vibe, or my content's not going to be as valuable, or I'm not going to be as magnetic. And that's actually not true. Again, that is a false reality, false belief system. Because the point of running a soul-aligned business or a new earth business is showing up authentically as you are. I can show up tired and still make incredible content. I can show up in low energy and still honor my path, right? I can show up exactly as I am and find the medicine in this moment that is meant to come through. And I feel that this has been a very powerful episode. So let me know in the comments below if you think so too. If you've gotten this far, give me a little butterfly in the comments if you've made it this far. I love you. And oh my gosh, I'm looking at my slippers right now and they actually have butterflies on them. So yes, definitely give us a little butterfly if you see that in there. And also knowing, again, we have this mindset of, if I show up when I'm tired, then I'm sacrificing myself, right? Or I'm not doing what I need to do for me. And what I'm saying is it's not that black and white, right? If you're recovering from self-sacrifice or perfectionism or bleeding yourself dry for your old paradigm 3D matrix job, you're going to have a lot of fears coming up around this, okay? This is going to be a big one for you because you're going to feel scared that you're hurting your inner child again when you show up tired. But this isn't about resting only when you're tired or showing up only when you have energy. This is about making a conscious choice in every moment how you're going to show up. And so for me, adding discipline into my day by saying, I'm going to work for 1 solid hour, and that can be my minimum, right? I'm still showing up. I'm still being disciplined. I'm still creating momentum even when it feels like a struggle. But I'm not allowing myself to go balls to the wall. I'm going to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do today. I'm going to do the bare minimum today because I know, especially as a female, so where I'm at right now, I'm at the very kind of end of my menstrual cycle. So my energy is low. I don't have as much energy, but I know in 2 weeks' time, I'm going to be doubling down on all my stuff. I'm going to have a lot of energy again. And so I know that I can have the discipline, still show up for my business, which makes a big difference energetically. And I can also rest. I have all the hours in the day. And this is coming from a place of limitlessness. This is coming from a place of abundance because I'm saying, hey, I'm here, I'm showing up, and I get to rest. It's not either I rest or either I work. It's I get to do both. And I get to choose to structure my day in a way that allows me that luxury. And that's all because I opened my own soul-aligned business. If I didn't believe in this dream, if I didn't pursue this calling, none of this would be possible. I would also be dropping my daughter off at daycare every single day and going to a job, probably still in a salon where I'm away from her for 6 to 8 hours. I come back home But that's not the life I wanted for myself. So this is the way forward for me. And I'm still working on like the overflow part. Like I would love to be traveling a bit more than we are right now. We would love to build our second house. So we're living in our first house right now that James built. I would love to be building our second house. So we have big evolutions, we have big dreams, we have big aspirations, and we're still working on pieces of the puzzles. I don't have them all figured out yet, you guys. Like I'm still also working on it. But what I have right now is I have my family, I have the luxury of my time, and I have all of my needs met. That is an incredible, powerful place to be in because I don't have to sacrifice. I know if an offer comes my way, if it's in alignment or not, because I already have all my needs met. I'm not lacking anything. So I will not sacrifice these things that I already have. You have to add to my scenario in order to be a part of this, right? I'm not willing to sacrifice what I have in order to be bringing more into the scenario. So that is the episode for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is such a beautiful topic. I would love to hear in the comments below how this shows up for you in your New Earth business or how this has impacted you. This is a baby podcast. It's still very, very new. So please share it with somebody you love. Get the word out there. If you would like to be on the podcast, there's a link down below for a Google form that you can apply to be on the podcast. I haven't yet started my interview episodes, but that is coming soon. I think it's going to be coming probably in the new year once Claire is in school a little bit more consistently. Right now, we're in like a transition station where she's going 1 to 2 hours like twice a week. And then I'm just kind of like hanging out, filming videos, sitting around the corner, not really doing too much so that I can go and get her if she's tired or nervous or anything like that. So we're in like a transitional phase right now. And when that becomes more stable and secure, I will start to do some interview episodes. So I'm super excited to bring on fellow New Earth creative leaders and share their magic, their gifts, what they're doing with the world, and to start networking with you guys. So if you want to be on the podcast, please check out the link below. If you're looking for my 10 free soul principles, this is the foundational ebook that I built my business on. So this is going to speak to your soul. This is going to help you understand the principles in which your business can be built on and how to adapt that to your own unique scenario. So you can also check that in the link down below. And any other resources you can find in the description. I'm sending you guys so much love. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And we'll see you next week in the next episode. Big love. Bye.